Thanks for staying with us. Welcome to the News at 5 on Channels Television. I'm Joke Rogers. In the news and reports we're tracking for you at this hour. President Bola Tinubu has pledged his administration's determination to deepen global engagement and intensify the fight against terrorism and criminality. The president spoke shortly after an economic briefing by the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Mr. Wale Edun, who reported during the Federal Executive Council meeting on Thursday that the administration's reform agenda continues to stimulate investor confidence and deliver notable economic gains. According to the president, the government remains firmly committed to moving the country forward despite prevailing political and security pressures.
The most important thing is the fact that despite the political headwind and the fear of our people, we continue to engage with our partners. The success of the 2.3 billion bond, subscription, oversubscribed, is the most at this stage. So the task ahead is immense. We are engaging the world diplomatically, and we assure all of you that we will, defeat terrorism in this country. The task ahead is immense, but it's our resolve to move forward with unity and purpose, guided by renewed hope agenda to build a prosperous, inclusive, and resilient Nigeria.
It's been quite a busy day for the president, who also swore in two newly appointed ministers, Dr. Bernard Doro and Mr. Kingsley Ude. They took their oath of office during the ceremony inside the council chamber of the State House of Assembly in Abuja, moments before he presided over the weekly Federal Executive Council meeting. Dr. Doro, a pharmacist and lawyer from Plateau State, replaces former Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, Professor Nentawe Yilwada, who recently assumed office as the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress. His nomination was confirmed by the Senate in late October. Mr. Ude, a senior advocate of Nigeria from Enugu State, fills the vacancy created by the exit of the former Minister of Science, Innovation and Technology, Uche Naji, who resigned following certificate forgery allegations. Mr. Ude's appointment was confirmed by the Senate earlier on Thursday after a brief screening. Before his appointment, he served as Enugu State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice. Meanwhile, the president immediately opened the FEC meeting, which commenced with a presentation by the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, on the state of the economy. In attendance were the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, Head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Mrs. Esther Didi Wilson-Jack, Chief of Staff to the President, Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, National Security Advisor, Malam Nuhu Ribadu, Ministers and Senior Presidential Advisors. The meeting was still in progress as at the time of filing this report. The Nigerian Center for Disease and Control, NCDC, has disclosed that 176 persons have died from Lassa fever in 2025, indicating a case fatality of 18.4%, which is higher than the CFR for the same period in 2024, which was 16.6%. The NCDC, in its 43-week epidemiology report released in Abuja on Wednesday, disclosed that 88% of all confirmed Lassa fever cases were reported from 4 states, namely Ondo, Bauchi, Edo, and Taraba, while 12% were reported from 17 states with confirmed Lassa fever cases. It also noted that the 88% confirmed cases, Ondo reported 37%, Bauchi 21%, Edo 7%, and Taraba 13%. However, the number of suspected and confirmed cases decreased compared to the ones reported for the same period in 2024. According to the weekly epidemiology report, no new healthcare worker was affected in the reporting week 43, adding that the National Lassa Fever Multi-Partner Multi-Sectoral Technical Working Group has continued to support the coordination of response activities. It, however, highlighted the challenges affecting response to Lassa fever cases, to include late presentation of cases leading to an increase in CFR, poor health-seeking behavior due to the high cost of treatment, and clinical management of Lassa fever, poor environmental sanitation conditions observed in high-burden communities, and poor awareness observed in high-burden communities as well. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has reaffirmed its readiness for Saturday's governorship election in Anambra State. Resident Electoral Commissioner Queen Agu gave the assurance in Awka while receiving sensitive election materials from the central bank. She notes that the materials will be promptly distributed to all local government areas to ensure seamless deployment before the polls begin on Saturday.
We're live here in the Central Bank of Nigeria, where the Independent National Electoral Commission have just taken possession of the sensitive materials. So as you can see, these are sensitive materials. This is for Awka South local government. There are different materials for the different local governments. This is Dunu Kofia and so on. Now, there are journalists here, civil society organizations, international and local election observers, members of the security agencies led by the Commissioner of Police, CP Abayomi Shogunle, is somewhere around. Not long ago, one of the national commissioners just walked in and, is briefing right now. So INEC says that they are going to be deploying materials to 5,118 polling units out of the 5,200. What about the other two? They say there are no registered voters in those two polling units, and therefore nobody will be deployed. For logistics, over 2,800 vehicles have been, gotten from the NURTW and NATO, as well as 83 boats for the riverine communities. The police say their marine police, as well as the air component of the police, are ready to secure this particular election. Now, there's something interesting here. I asked the CP, I said, covering the collation and the recording process, you people would say you allow it to happen, and when elections come, when the collation actually happens, you chase journalists. He gave me his number and said, that is not going to happen. Journalists will be allowed to cover the collation process in real time. So we are going to be testing that out during this election. So for now, I'm right here at the CBN, and of course, we are going to be inspecting the sensitive materials.
Staying with the elections in Anambra State, and the Nigerian police is confident that adequate security has been put in place for the polls. The Commissioner of Police in charge of the election, Abayomi Shogunle, gave this assurance while fielding questions from journalists earlier today.
There's going to be voting in all the polling units in Anambra State come Saturday, except 2 polling units, and this is as a result of 0 registered voter. No person has registered to vote in those 2 polling units. Otherwise, the election will go ahead in all locations as expected on Saturday, and everything that is needed to be put in place to ensure that this happens in terms of security and logistics has been put in place. And part of meeting the timeline is what we are witnessing here today, which is the commencement of the distribution of electoral materials from the Central Bank Awka to all the local governments areas in the state, and this will continue from the local government areas to the super racks and then to the rack, and by very early Saturday morning all these electoral materials will arrive at the various polling stations across the state. Security has been put in place both on land and on the waterways, as well as the air patrol. Shortly before we started this interview, we saw a police patrol helicopter flew over us. So adequate security has been put in place. As regards your question on the waterways, we have adequate police boats that will be patrolling those waterways to ensure that anything that is not planned for happen on those places.
Away from the Anambra governorship election, but staying with politics, some members of the People's Democratic Party are on a peaceful protest to the United States Embassy in Abuja, asking for the support of the international community to save Nigeria's democracy and stop the development towards a one-party system. The protesters are submitting protest letters at the U.S. Embassy, the European Union complex, and at the Ministry of Justice. The placards carry messages calling on members of the international community to intervene and save Nigeria's democracy and the judiciary. The protesters allege a tilt to a one-party state, and as they claim, undue intimidation of opposition by the ruling party.
Let them move. Let them go. They will be going. Let them stop them. Move.
Away from politics, the Senate has ordered the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, alongside other relevant regulatory bodies to fully enforce the ban on the production and sale of high-content alcoholic drinks in sachets effective December 2025. Lawmakers emphasized that the current grace period should be the final one, insisting that no further extension will be entertained. This decision followed a motion raised by Senator Asuquo Ekpeyong, who urged the Senate to stop any additional delays in phasing out sachet-packaged alcoholic beverages. Leading the debate, Senator Ekpeyong recalled that NAFDAC had already introduced the phased ban after broad dialogues with industry stakeholders aligning with global health and safety standards aimed at curbing youth access and reducing alcohol-related harm. From health to security matters, the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps in Adamawa State has intercepted a truck laden with over 200 pieces of vandalized pipelines belonging to the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited. The state commandant of the Corps, Mr. Idris Bande, disclosed this during a press briefing in Yola, the state capital. He warned individuals involved in pipeline vandalism to desist from such actions, stressing that the Corps will not relent in bringing perpetrators to justice. Of about 26,740 youths, women and persons living with disabilities selected from the 6 Niger Delta states have benefited from the first phase of the Livelihoods Improvement and Family Empowerment Nigeria, that's Life ND project. The National Project Coordinator of Life ND, Sani Abiodun, stated this during the 5th supervision mission of the project in Benin City, the Edo State capital. Also speaking at the event, the Nigerian Country Director for the International Fund for Agriculture Development, Dede Ekwe, said the empowerment program targets the youth to address unemployment challenges.
The first phase of the project that addressed the 6 states of Abia, Bayelsa, Cross River, Delta, Edo, and Ondo had over 26,470 beneficiaries touched. Young agro-entrepreneurs, youths who are women, and also female-headed households, as well as people with disabilities that have been highly impacted to establish their agro-enterprises along different commodity value chains. So that is the figure for the first phase in these 6 states. Currently, we are running the project in 3 states of Akwa Ibom, Imo, and Rivers. We started towards the end of last year, around September, and presently we have over 4,380 beneficiaries enlisted and supported by the project in the 3 states that I've mentioned.
In the context where we know the issue of unemployment and underemployment. So that is the first element that we need to take into account, empowering the youth to transform agri-food system and to generate jobs. These same youth are there to generate jobs not just for themselves, but for other youths. You'll see in the case of Edo State, we highlighted that the project strengthened the capacity of at least 4,300 agripreneurs. They set up the business and they have recruited also 3,800 workers. Look at the multiplier factor. When you invest in life indeed, you multiply opportunity for job creation.
Here in Lagos State, the government has called on residents to collaborate with law enforcement agencies to ensure the safety of lives and property. The State Commissioner for Youth and Social Development, Mr. Mobolaji Ogunlende, made the call during the opening ceremony of the 2025 Police Youth Dialogue held in Alausa Ikeja. He says collective action from all stakeholders is needed in building a safer state.
Community leaders, youth in Lagos, officers of the Nigeria Police Force, officials of the Lagos State Traffic Management Authority, Lagos Neighborhood Safety Corps, the annual security dialogue initiated by the Lagos State government is to bridge the gap between the police and the younger generation.
The Lagos that we desire needs to be peaceful. The Lagos that we desire needs to be harmonious.
This program is designed to strengthen the partnership between our law enforcement agencies and the vibrant youth of our state. The ministry remains deeply committed to ensuring the young people are not only protected, but also empowered to play active roles in shaping safe, peaceful, and inclusive community.
And then the need for shift in mindset. It is until we achieve that shift in mindset that we will have an harmonious relationship between the youth and the Nigerian Police Force.
The State Commissioner for Youth and Social Development, Mobolaji Ogunlende, says the Police Youth Dialogue provides an opportunity for young people and security operatives to engage openly and build trust.
There have been a lot of issues. There have been a lot of incidents. Some caught on camera, some not caught on camera. My brother there that was speaking said how he was robbed, and not everybody has a story to say. I have a story to say. There will always be bad eggs, but there are always good eggs. In every home, every organization, every family, every institution. That is what it is. It is a norm. But for us to get it right, we must first of all dialogue. Build the youth.
Youth are also encouraged to view the police and other security agents as allies in progress rather than adversaries.
The trust deficit is not today. It takes time. And certainly one day it will end. We have responsibility to ensure that what we meet, the treasure, the heritage, the wealth of the country that we meet, that we improve on it. Let us stop the blame game.
Some of the youth say they are willing and ready to embrace the relationship.
I think that this police dialogue with youth and security agency in Lagos is an important platform to co-create solutions that would last us when it comes to our security measures in Lagos.
The outcome is going to create a better improvement on the part of the youth and on the part of the police.
The Police Youth Dialogue serves as a vital platform to strengthen partnership, build mutual trust, to towards improving security and community safety across the state and must be sustained for the benefit of all citizens.
Thank you very much.
Business news: Nigeria's gross domestic product is expected to grow between 3.6 and 4.0% next year, underpinned by non-oil sector expansion, policy stability, and renewed investor confidence. This projection was made by FSDH Merchant in its newly released Nigeria's macroeconomic report titled "From Reform to Resilience: Unlocking Nigeria's Next Growth Chapter." At the same time, the bank assumes an average oil price of $70 per barrel and production at 1.62 million barrels per day, resulting in 3.8% GDP growth, inflation of 20.9%, external reserves of $39.6 billion, and an average exchange rate of 1,525 naira per dollar. Meanwhile, on fiscal and monetary dynamics, FSDH forecasts a gradual shift from aggressive monetary tightening to cautious easing following the Central Bank of Nigeria's first interest rate cut in 5 years in September 2025, when the monetary policy rate was lowered from 27.5% to 27%. The Director General of the National Biotechnology Research and Development Agency, Professor Abdullahi Mustafa, has been speaking on the benefits of the deployment of biotechnology and research as a tool towards the nation's attainment of food sufficiency. Professor Mustafa, who was speaking at an event to honor journalists reporting biotechnology, explains that while quality reporting is not only optional but essential to the nation's socio-economic development, the DG, however, underscored that agricultural biotechnology is not a silver bullet, but it's an eminently practical tool that complements other policies to increase productivity.
The National Biotechnology Research and Development Agency stands firmly behind the values that OPA promotes. Our mandate is to harness biotechnology responsibly to deliver greater food security, improve nutrition, and livelihood for millions of Nigerians. Over the past decades, we have worked with partners across government, academia, research institutes, and private sector to develop and deploy innovations that strengthen resilience to pests, diseases, and changing climate. The evidence is now visible on farms. Varieties such as pot-borer resistant cowpea, teller maize, and BT cotton, which are joint national and international partnership projects, have moved beyond laboratory into farmers' field.
That's the news at 5. Thank you for watching. I'm Joker Rogers.